This video is for Algebra 1. Today we're going to be talking about patterns. We're also going to talk a little bit about domain and range. Let's start with looking at domain and range. When you are looking at a graph, your domain goes from left to right, always left to right. You will either write your domain with a list of numbers or using symbols. Okay, if you're going to use the symbols, it's either less than or equal to, always pointing to the left. You will use the list if they give you a table, if they give you a graph with just points that are not connected. You will use symbols if they give you an equation. You will use symbols if they give you a graph with a line actually on it. You will also use a list if they give you a mapping. Okay. Your range, when you're looking at a graph, goes from the bottom to the top. Your symbols, once again, are going to be less than or equal to. Same rules for domain and range, okay? If you used a list in domain, you're going to use a list in range. So once again, it's going to be a table. It's going to be a graph with points only, or it's going to be a mapping. If that's how they present the information to you, your domain and range will be a list. You will use symbols if they give you an equation, or if they give you a graph with a line on it. Okay? So real quick, let's remember what a mapping looks like. A mapping is when they have this, and they have 1 and 2, and they have this, and they have 5 and 6, and they have their lines drawn. Okay, that's what a mapping looks like. So when they give you a mapping, you're going to give a list. If they give you a graph with a line, you're going to use your symbols. If they give you a table, it's going to be a list. If they give you a graph with points, it's going to be a list. If they give you a set of ordered pairs, it's going to be a list. So your list looks like, you would just say domain is 1, 2, set 5, 7, whatever. Your range would be -2, -3, -5, whatever. Okay? And then your symbols, you're going to go from small is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to big, which would actually be left to right on your domain, and bottom to top on your range. Keep in mind that if it is an open circle, it is less than. If it is a solid circle, it is less than or equal to. Okay, so now let's look at this mapping. First of all, I want to know, is it a function? And the answer here is no, because 12 has 2 lines leaving it. Now, I don't care at all about the right side. Remember, the left is your x and the right is your y. And the rule for being a function is x cannot repeat. So you only look over here, and the way you know it repeats is there's 2 lines leaving it. Now, to give your domain and your range, we have a mapping, so it's a list. So your domain is simply 4, 6, 8, 12. Your range is 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. On this one, first of all, is it a function? Remember, we have to assume that these are arrows. Do your vertical line test and it passes, so yes, it's a function. Your domain is left to right, but those arrows mean it's getting wider and wider as it goes, and it goes forever. So it goes forever to the left and forever to the right. Your domain is ARN. Your range, you go from the bottom to the top. Here's your low point. Remember, you got to use a y value, and your y value is 0. It does actually get down there and touch it, so less than or equal to. Range talks about y. It goes forever up, and so you don't put a stopping point up there. That's your domain and your range. Okay, so today we're looking at patterns. Okay, they've given us a pattern of shapes, and you're going to see one of these on the EOC, so pay close attention. Your x is going to be the number like for here it's the stage number. It's the order that it shows up in the group of pictures. Your Y on this one is going to be the number of boxes that were drawn. So X is your stage number and Y is the number of boxes. So in stage 1, I have 2 boxes. In stage 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. In stage 3, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. So that's how you make a table from the information. This is the information they gave you. They wanted you to turn it into a table. They also want you to turn it into a graph, and all you're going to do there is plot the points from your table. Remember that this is your Y and this is your X, so we're going to go over 1 up 2. We're going to go over 2 up 4. We're going to go over 3 up 6. Don't draw a line unless they gave you an equation. Then they want you to turn that into an equation. The way you're going to do that is you're going to put your points in stat. Now I can tell by looking at this that it's probably linear, okay? Which means I'm going to use Stat Calc 4. If I wasn't sure, I could always use Stat Calc 5. Let's go to Stat, edit, and put our points in. My X is my L1, so I've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. My Y is my L2, and so I have 2, 4, 6. I'm going to go back to Stat. I'm going to go over to Calc. If you know it's linear, you want to use 4 linear regression. If you're not sure, use 5 for quadratic regression. Press Enter. See how A is 0? That means there is no X squared. It's not quadratic. 2 goes with X, and so that is 2X. C is by itself. We do not have a value for C, so your equation here is Y is equal to 2X. If we had done Stat Calc 4, we would have ended up with the same answer, 2X. Okay? So, you look at your picture and you figure out your X and your Y, make a table. You take the points and you plot them on the graph to get your graph, and then you put them in Stat to get your equation. Looking at the next page or the next graph. Okay, they give you a sequence of numbers and they love to use this problem. Don't make it harder than it is. Your X is going to be the number it is in order, and then your Y is the value. So this is my first number, this is my second, this is my third, this is my fourth. So now I can create a table, and my X is 1, 2, 3, 4, and my Y is 8, 12, 16, 20. So then I can make a graph, go over 1 up 8, go over 2 up 12, over 3 up 16, and over 4 up 20. And then to turn that into an equation, I go to Stat, and I've got to have it go all the way to 4. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my L2 is my Y values, which is going to be 8, 12, 16, and 20. Once again, I can tell that looks like it's making a line. If I wasn't sure, I could go ahead and do Stat Calc 5. A is 0, so there is no X squared. B is 4, and C is 4. So this is going to be Y is equal to 4X plus 4. And it's plus 4 because that second one was a positive. That C was a positive value. So you now have a table and a graph and an equation, all from a list of numbers, just from a sequence. So this one's going to work the same way. So my suggestion is that you pause it and try it and then come back and look at it. X is going to be the order it is in the sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Y is going to be the value. So making your table, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to have -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. You're going to go to Stat. You're going to put it in, except this time we got to get all the way to 7. And my numbers are going to be -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to go back to stat, calc. I'm going to do 5 because I'm really, well, I probably should plot these points, shouldn't I? Let's come over here and plot our points. We go left 3, up 1. Left 2, up 2. Left 1, up 3. 0, 4. 1, 5. 2, 6. It looks linear, but just in case, I'm going to go ahead and go with 5 for quadratic. Sure enough, it is linear because a is 0. We have 1x minus 4. Y is equal to 1x minus 4. That's not going to be an option choice. They're going to write it y is equal x minus 4. Same thing. Means the same thing. You can write it either way for me. So once again, pause the video and put this in. This is your, excuse me, this is your x, your depth. Your y is going to be your pressure. Anytime they give you a table, the left is x, the y is on the right. So you don't have to make a table, but to graph it, you would go over 10 and up 4.3, over 20 and up 8.6, over 30 and up 12.9, over 40 and up 17.2. So then you want to put them into stat. And you're just going to have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and delete this one. So then over here, you're going to have 4.3, 8.6, 12.9, 17.2, I've got mine off, 17.2, 21.5. Then we'll delete these off. It looked linear, but just because I'm not 100% sure, I'm going to go stat calc 5. Sure enough, it is. Y is equal to 0.43x, and there is no c, so it's just y is equal to 0.43x. This is your x, this is your y. Anytime they give you a horizontal table, the top one is x, the bottom one is y. So to plot them, you would go over 0 up 7, over 2 up 11, 4, 23, 6, 43. My graph wasn't really good. Let's go to stat. And we're going to have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. And you're going to have 7, 11, 23, 43, 71. Stat calc 5. And it is quadratic. It is x squared plus 7. Y is equal to x squared plus 7. There is no x term because b was 0. So making your table, we have x and we have y. X is 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 white squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So you're going to do the same thing with this one. And when you do this, you should get y is equal to 4x plus 4. One more, same thing. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for your x. You have 1, 3, 5, and 7 for your y. You would put that in. You would get y is equal to 2x minus 1. You need to use stat to get that figured out. So if you didn't finish your domain and range activity, you need to do that. You have a patterns packet that you also need to finish. If you have questions, come see me.